Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Left Side, Strong Side. I'm your host, Chance Ellis, and joining me, my usual co-hosts, Mike Deacon and Jacob London. And joining us this week, special guest who was on a show last season. Love having this dude back on, Moose Haas. Thank you for coming back, man.
I got to agree with Mike's screen title. Absolutely, the Rams got screwed. We'll talk about that a little later because old Chance and I put a little gentleman's wager on this match.
We'll talk about that when we get there. First thing we're going to talk about, though, Thursday Night Football. And you know what? I will say, this is the best Thursday night game I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
It didn't start out that way.
No, it really didn't. It did not start out that way. This game started pretty ugly. But then the second half, these offenses started clicking. And they started clicking pretty well. A lot of points good up. It was back and forth. Jags had it. Saints had a chance to come back. And Derek Carr is a weird quarterback because, like, he's very good. I will always go to bat for Derek Carr being a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's
weirdly enough, though, like there's so many times of him like throwing the ball as an incompletion and then him getting pissed off because the receivers weren't there. It's like, okay, he's throwing the ball where he thinks the receivers should be and not where they actually are, getting pissed off that they're not there. It's odd, to say the least.
I like Derek Carr. I think he lost himself a lot of fans this week. I think the way he reacted to this game and the way he acted on field, you don't do that. Sorry, if he was playing flawlessly and it was on Olave and it was on his receivers, fine, blow up. Brady did it all the time.
Yeah,
no, he was playing shit. Derek Carr for the majority of that game was not playing well. He was missing throws. He was overthrowing it, underthrowing it. Like, he was not playing well. Later in the game, he started to, but for the majority of it, he was not playing great. And then I just think that the blow-ups are more indicative of he is getting frustrated with where he is in the NFL. And this is a guy who is very clearly frustrated that the Saints are not a good roster. The Saints are not a good team. I think that's
you guys got to deal with Pete Carmichael on a weekly basis.
Like, and I think that he is aware of that, and he probably made a mistake going to the Saints. When, you know, I know they were openly courting Aaron Rodgers, but the Jets were there. Like, the Jets did offer. So, I think he's starting to realize he probably made a mistake going to the Saints.
And you look at this, that team right there. You have Chris Olave and you have Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas has looked a lot better this year. First things first, like Michael Thomas this year versus the past two seasons. What a difference!
In that he's been present this season.
Well, not only that, like, he's played well. He's actually played pretty well. But like, despite missing the first few games due to a suspension, Alvin Kamara might wind up leading the league in receptions by the end of this year with what's going on in New Orleans. It's insane how they are using him right now. He's not a running back anymore.
He had 12 receptions in this game. Fucking 12 receptions.
He had 29 catches overall.
If you've
20 touches,
all of us at some point in time in the last 5 years have been burned by Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara in fantasy football, right? Every one of us. So those of us who have stuck it out, like I did in one of my leagues, certainly not the What the Show league, but in one of my leagues, I was like, fuck it, we're going to do it. We're sticking with Kamara. And I finally got an Alvin Kamara sighting. It's nice to see him doing better. And look, I'll echo and agree with everything that you guys are saying about Derek Carr. I rooted for Derek Carr for a while now. And when he went to the Saints, I was like, maybe, maybe. But, and again, I'm just kind of repeating everything that you guys are saying, but you can't show your frustrations to the public like that.
Right.
You can't. And
unless you're Tom Brady, and then the people will for some reason.
Right, but if you're Brady and you've got, 4 Super Bowls under your belt, you earn the right to be able to get mad. And people go, you should be passionate about the game.
Yeah. there are 3 or 4 players in the league who, yes, they can. The same as last week, I ripped into
Who are the other 3? I can think of one. Who are the other 3?
Okay, maybe not still in the league, but Mahomes has every right to. Like,
Okay,
Mahomes
2. I got 2. Yeah,
has
Mahomes,
every
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers has every right to. You know, like, and then even maybe like probably Stafford probably doesn't, but like, okay, 3 at this point, only 3 because everyone's fucking retired. But Big Ben had every right to. You know, like there were players who did have every right to blow up. Last week, I ripped into Brian Daboll for blowing up very emotionally on the sideline. Bill Belichick can get away with that because he's earned the right. Andy Reid can get away with that because he's earned the right. There's people who have earned the right.
I was not thinking coaches.
Yeah, sorry, Derek Carr's just not one of them at all. He has not earned that right. Sorry, go ahead.
Thing is, they nearly had a chance to win the game. They were driving down the field. They had a chance to score a touchdown, but Foster Moreau's hands like Christmas ornaments, just for decoration. Like you gotta catch that. Like that was right in your hands. You have to catch that.
His post-game interview was perfect. So he's like, I don't think anyone in this locker room, besides you interviewing me right now, will speak to me for the rest of the night. It was like, yeah, dude, you fucking lost the game with the drop.
I would have spoken to him.
Here's the thing. And here's the type and I just gave Derek Carr a lot of shit. Here's the type of thing. And I think what also surprised me and frustrated me so much about this game. He would blow up if that was the only blow up, you'd understand it. But that's the one blow up he won't do. Understandably, because he knows there's no point in doing that blow up.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what made it so weird about how much he's blowing up earlier in the game. What really wasn't a good look. The drop catch, you've got to take that.
But so go to the other side of it. We really haven't talked about Jacksonville much, but like they started to click a little bit in this game. Like they're still very uneven, but you saw something clicked after that first quarter. From the second quarter on, that's the Jacksonville I think we expected to see most of this, from the preseason on. Now I'm starting to get a little bit like, ooh, this, if they can continue this, they might have something.
Yeah, they might.
Jags, what's going to be really interesting is like Jags. What I'm really curious about is the Jags over the next 2 weeks. Well, 3 weeks because they've got a bye in between.
Right.
They play 2 relatively tough teams in Steelers and 49ers. Like that's 2 of, we think, the best defenses in football. After this week, I don't know. But we'll see how they go against them because the Saints have a lauded defense, and that defense did step up pretty well, and Jags were starting to look good. So if they go 2-0 or 1-1 over the next 3 weeks, my preseason about Jacksonville might actually start coming true, and I'm going to be. This weekend was the Jacob stick with your fucking convictions weekend. Honestly, this was you were right week fucking 1, and you didn't listen to yourself.
We'll get into all things you're right about later in the show, but I thought the Jacksonville, I believe it's win 4 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
they're starting to roll.
They're on a run.
Starting to roll. Good for them.
Yeah, they're on a run.
I agree. I think the next 2 weeks are tell the tale for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I mean, Jacksonville doesn't have a relatively harder schedule. Like the next 2 weeks is kind of their biggest test.
Their schedule this year is like pretty easy. That's not big.
Why I thought they were going to be the best. That's why I thought they were going to win the AFC, was because they had the easiest schedule in the AFC. And they were a good team. They were the best team in the South. I still think that's true, but I wasn't expecting Texans to do what the Texans are doing. Like that, I think is the big shock.
Yeah. Up next, a game that really none of us thought we would be worth. We didn't think this game we were talking about, but it kind of is because the Raiders versus the Bears. Look, we've said a lot about Josh McDaniels, all of it warranted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Look, this can't go on any longer. I don't care what you have to do to get more money to fire this dude.
Get him.
Mark Davis needs to do it because, like, when you are letting Tyson Bagent make your team like a fucking joke.
Tyson Bagent was like a Pro Bowler in this game.
And I actually don't think this was the game. I don't think the scoreline is what cost him. Is what is when it is all said and done, we're going to look back and say this was what cost him his job. It's playing Hoyer. Playing Hoyer cost him his job today. I think if he gets fired in the next 2 weeks, playing Brian Hoyer instead of the rookie was in a game that, hey, I should probably let's test the rookie out. And then you still get blown out 35-0 playing Brian Hoyer. No, that's sackable. You have to get fired for that. This was a joke. And yeah, the Raiders are such a weird team because there are weeks where they don't look good, but the defense steps up or they make one or two plays and you're like, oh, wow, that actually looks relatively decent. But then there's other weeks where they play like this and you're going, who the hell are you?
Yeah, there's 3 teams right now that I consider in that extremely frustrating position because you just don't know who's going to show up each week. And they're one of them. The Raiders are one of the 3 teams that you from a gambling perspective, don't even touch their games because you never know what the hell's going to happen.
No.
I'm going to add a 4th. Don't worry.
The Raiders cost me a Survivor Series, so that's why I am with the Raiders.
Oh,
we got it. The Raiders have to fire their head coach. Have to. Do you guys follow Annie Agar on Twitter? She does. Yeah, she does the NFL recaps. She's out for the Raiders head coach, and every week she just plays him as this moron. And I watch these games, and I'm like, okay, maybe she's not too far off.
No, she's not.
On paper, the Raiders should be a contender.
They have the talent.
And you know what? Again, if you look at their schedule right now, they're in second place. They could theoretically, if they turned it up, get themselves a wild card position.
Thing is, do you trust McDaniels to do that?
No, I think you fire him and you put an interim head coach right now. I don't even care.
The mistake the Raiders ever made was hiring McDaniels.
Yes.
They had an incredible team, a team that had actually gone, hey, we're in. We built in after and then they get rid of the interim coach. My brain's just decided not to work. That's Bisaccia. And then because can you imagine with Bisaccia plus then getting Adams, Devontae Adams into that team?
Yeah.
Not having McDaniels completely go, oh no, I don't want Derek Carr. I want my own guy. I blow this team up. And now it's very clear this was a mistake. McDaniels isn't a head coach. He is a very good offensive coordinator for a certain team, but he's not a head coach. He's.
Has there been anybody else?
Translate to another team. As an offensive coordinator, I'm not sure. I think under Bill Belichick he works, but I don't know how well he would do under another team.
Let's just torture Derek Carr as much as we can, and McDaniels can go to the Saints as the offensive coordinator.
So then he gets ousted from there. Then Derek Carr gets ousted from there. Then where does he go?
Dude, the Tyson Bagent,
honestly, Titans
is my favorite story of this week.
Yeah,
it was just who the hell is this kid? Goes to a D2 school,
D3 school.
Yeah,
for the record,
undrafted.
Owns the record for most career touchdown passes for a college quarterback.
Yep.
Dude goes 21 for 29. He looks poised. He's making plays with his feet.
Not only that.
Holy shit. Good for you, kid.
He made this Bears team look good. This fucking awful.
Deontay Foreman.
Deontay Foreman get 3 touchdowns.
Foreman. What the hell, man?
It's not like he was the backup for a decent team, but their quarterback got injured. Now we've got this fucking no-name kid, and he put up 35 points. Yeah, they're one of the worst teams in the league. They're going to get the number 1 overall draft pick. Admittedly, not through them, but they're going to get a top 5 pick. They're fucking awful, and he still made them look good. What is going on?
But funniest thing is
the locker room when he was like shirtless and dude's all ripped, he's all tatted up and shit. And then you just see Fields in the background and just going ape shit when he gets the game ball. Like
I love Fields for that.
Yes, just a cool kind of story to come out of the NFL. And there's always one of these per season where, you have the undrafted Sab Sack that, just comes out of nowhere and becomes a star. And who knows how long this kid's going to be starting. Like, there's not going to be any type of a quarterback controversy.
2 years ago, it was Mike White. Last year, Brock Purdy, arguably, because I know he was drafted.
Yeah.
But
essentially,
essentially undrafted. This year, Teabag. Let's go.
Look, he's guaranteed himself a decade of a backup career. Like this performance alone, he will get a backup career. Congratulations. Like that's all look, he's not a starter. Like he's not a starter. Like you could see that he played against the Raiders with no film on him. Like I'm not going to go, there's a quarterback controversy. There's not. Like we're not there yet, guys. But he's guaranteed. That's the story of the week. He's guaranteed himself, hey, congratulations, you got a decade earning about $1 million to $2 million each year playing an NFL backup role where you don't actually have to play. So
and so the thing with him though, his post-game interview was delightful because somebody asked him, what would you be doing if you weren't in a backup quarterback right now? He's like, I'd probably be hardcore CrossFitting and also maybe teaching at my old high school.
Look, I know we all have our own pick for this award, but I'm overriding all of you. Tyson Bagents, you are our strong player of the week.
You know what? That's a good choice.
Give it to him.
This week
is so fucking weird.
I
have an actual choice, but I like that.
I'm overriding all of you. Tyson Bagents talks of the week.
Attaboy, Teabag.
He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Next year we do Q rankings. He is definitely a front runner for Left Side Strong Side Hall of Fame. All right. Up next, look, there were a lot of teams that got hoed by the refs over the weekend. None more so than the Indianapolis Colts.
Big time.
Oh, good. Can we just talk about overriding stonks of the week that you're at? I'm overriding all of you, not stonks, the fucking refs. Holy crap.
Sure. Why not?
Agreed.
No
argument.
Actually, no, Jacob, you cannot override anybody. It's not in your contract. It's in my contract. I can override the rest of you. And that's fine. Refs can be not stonks of the week for all of us.
Holy God. I'm definitely buying stock in the not stonks.
Yeah. Myles Garrett.
Refs blowing calls.
But before we go into the blown calls, Myles Garrett, it would have been my stonks player of the week. Gardner Minshew played a classic Gardner Minshew game.
Yeah. Now, look, I will say, last week, Jacob, you were vaunting the Browns as the best defense in the NFL. I'm sorry. No. You cannot say the best defense in the NFL and then let Gardner Minshew drop 40 on you. That's not how that works.
Who is it? Right now, we are at such a weird place in the NFL right now. This week is a write-off. I'm not willing to just go, I'm changing throw everything out this week, because this week was just weird. All right, like we're in that mid-season period where teams are trying to find motivation. Some teams are like desperate for the bye. Other teams are just like going, we've started pretty well. Our quarterbacks are fucking rapists, so we don't care. Like, there's a lot of things going on with teams. Look, the big takeaway for this, Myles Garrett, 100%. It's a 2-horse race for Defensive Player of the Year. Absolutely. Like Micah Parsons, congratulations on your 3rd place trophy. And it might not even be 3rd place. If there was any justice in the world, TJ Watt and Myles Garrett would be in the MVP conversation. Like if there was any actual justice in the world, but they're not, because it's a quarterback award.
Yeah, and we haven't had defender be MVP since, I think, Lawrence Taylor. I think he's the last one to do it.
Correct. Those two right now are the reason their teams are winning. Like there is no other. Like they are the reason. And you can't say that about a quarterback right now this year, outside of maybe Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. They're the
hurts.
that you can do that. I don't know about like there are other players on that team that are lifting that are playing as well, if not better than Hurts.
We'll get there later. Not this game. So look, this is a shootout. Gardner Minshew is playing great. He's taking it to the Colts. I'm sorry, taking it to the Browns. Myles Garrett's having an incredible game. He had a blocked field goal, 2 sacks, a strip sack for a touchdown. The dude was killing it. But the Colts were still within striking distance to win the game. Here's where the heinous of the refs comes in. On the final drive, the Colts get a massive strip sack on PJ Walker, who came in the game because John Watson threw 5 passes and got hurt. Got a massive strip sack on him, but there was a flag for illegal contact. The thing is,
terrible.
Like, on a fumble, a DPI and illegal contact are nullified. So I don't understand why that was called to begin with.
Yeah, that one. Look, it shouldn't have been called, but let's say it was. That one's the 50-50. I can maybe give you a 50-50 on that one. The next one's the heinous one.
Yeah, the next one. Okay, so what happens? What happens is the Colts get called on the next play for a DPI, pass interference, on a ball that literally nobody could have caught.
Caught that.
Wait a second. The guy in the third row could have caught that.
And look, if they put hands on him, then I'd be like, okay, sure. But like, unless Donovan Jones could like grow 12 feet or teleport out of bounds and back inbounds, like there was no way he was coming down with that ball.
No, and it's a ridiculous call. Like that was, and completely egregious call. I understand the rule where the NFL won't come out and comment. This is the week you break that rule. This is the week you go.
Time for change.
This is the week you come out and go, we fucked up. We're going to address it. Like that, like, and you don't even have to mention the game. Just come out and go, just acknowledge. Just at least give fans an acknowledgement. Yeah, it ain't good. We're not happy with it. Like, if at the bare minimum, that.
I think something like this, when something this egregious happens, the Colts should be awarded a compensatory draft pick. Like, that's something
like that, yeah.
Something along those lines. Can
we retroactively get one for Jesse James a few years ago? He caught the ball. He caught that ball.
No, I think this is again, I understand there is an owner who has made a comment publicly, which is going to be very interesting, and this is going to call.
Was there a say?
It has to be like they haven't outright.
We haven't heard who.
It had to be a say.
It has to be.
I'll be shocked if it's either that or it's the rain. Yeah, it's one of them
for sure.
But This to me is, you don't have to come out. You don't have to mention the game. You don't have to mention the refs by name. You don't have to say anything. Just come out and go, this weekend was not acceptable, and we are looking to address it. That's all you have to say. If you say that, that is the bare minimum, and I think it would, at minimum, placate people just to be like, okay, cool, you're at least acknowledging that this isn't acceptable, and you're not happy with it, and we can live with that. I mean, you can't. You'd be pissed off still as a Colts fan, but like, yeah, you can.
One of the worst ones ever.
Acknowledged. Hey, you're at least acknowledging we got fucked over.
Yeah. So this past weekend, I was during all the morning games. I hardly ever get a chance to go out golfing. No. My wife's been out of town, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go golfing. So I installed the Red Zone on my phone, right? And you get the alert as it's changing from one red zone to the other.
Right.
And I just kept getting alerts for this fucking game because the points were just. Yeah. So I would be I'd be on the green and running back to the cart because I'm like, okay, I want to see what's going to happen next. It's this.
Will this be? I didn't ask you guys beforehand. Will this be our game of the week?
I think so.
Oh yeah, this game of the week
for sure. Yeah, this was a shootout, man.
Easily.
But I wholeheartedly agree with everything that Jacob is saying about the freaking refs. It's got to change. It has to change. Look, and this is obviously coming from a very biased standpoint, as my Rams were screwed by, a terrible ref call. But also, again, you think about like years ago when they finally introduced playback in the Major League Baseball, right? Fans were mad, coaches were mad, players were mad. But you know what? They use it so well now, and
it's evolved.
It has evolved, and it's to the point where there's cameras everywhere.
Yep.
Right? Every inch. There's hundreds of cameras in these stadiums. You can see it from any angle that you want to be able to see these plays. And so when it comes down to a shitty call like this, that obviously then puts it into contention for another team to win, there has to be a second look at this. There has to be. Whether you have a timeout to use as a challenge, it's just the right call to make. You have the technology to do it. In this particular case, it should have been had a closer look taken. I mean, the head ref really should be standing up and be like, we got to fucking review this. Like, you need to be sure that you called that as pass interference.
Well, PI needs to be reviewable again. I know they tried this once. They went at it about like the totally wrong way the last time they tried it. Yeah. So like they need to try it again.
The thing with me and reviewable, I think reviewable is right. I don't think any sport gets it correct. I have always gone with, you need to have an element of the ref's call. The ref makes a call and you have to have that element. I think, and the pushback everyone gets with video is, it slows the game down even more. Put 60 seconds on it. You have 60 seconds because we'll generally the ones that we all go, oh my God, what is going on? This one was an obvious one. Within 60 seconds, you would have gone. The thing that drives me mad is when they spend 5 minutes looking over something and it's such a 50-50 call. At that point, just go with the on-field. Right. If after 60 seconds you cannot tell, it's the on-field decision. It's a 50-50 call. You go with on-field. I just think that's something that way you can introduce reviewable on basically anything, because it's, hey, we've got 60 seconds to very quickly look at it, or 40 seconds. Make it a play clock, like, make it a play. Like you've got that time to look at it very quickly, and it gets rid of the egregious ones. The 50-50 will always come on here and have a debate. Like, look, we'll get to it. I think that one's a 50. I think the one that you got screwed was a 50-50. This one's not. This was egregious. This was completely egregious. And I just think I think if you had one look at it, everyone just went, no, that's not PI. That's not that. Like, uncatchable. Everyone within one look at it had it. The same with the Saints one 4 years ago that got the rule brought in. You all looked at it and you went, that's PI. That's 100% leading with the helmet and PI. What are you not calling that for? Anyway,
it was damn good to see Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, that should finally show up
kicking some ass again.
I think
Jacob, I was trying to tell you to wrap it up, but I realized why you were talking so much, because you realize what game is coming next. Look, I will disclose. I was driving back from Vegas Sunday, so I missed a good chunk of the morning slate. So, Jacob, I'm just gonna ask, what the hell happened?
We got a backup defense. We have a backup defense.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's the problem. And it's a real, real problem, because Josh did not play bad. Josh didn't play amazing. Don't get me wrong. A pick on the opening fucking drive, like
on the first pass, too. On the very first pass.
It's a fucking dumb throw, too. Like that, not good. But the rest of the game, he was pretty good. He played his heart out, and he was playing the best he possibly could against a very good defense with Patriots. And the Patriots actually put the training wheels back on. Mac Jones, he didn't have a single throw over 20 yards. They just did dink and dunk and went, nope, we're not giving you, you are not getting anything that's, Mac, you don't have to make a decision. We're going to make them all for you now. And that's just, the ball was out within 2 seconds on a backup defense. We
was
struggled.
literally, where's Kendrick Bourne? Was the Mac Jones playbook this week.
Oh yeah.
And that's what happened. This is the best game Mac Jones has ever played. This is easily the best game of his career.
And even then, it's not that impressive.
Belichick needed this game. Mac Jones needed this game. Like, there's a lot of lost faith in New England, especially from the fan base.
And
for good reason, too. For good reason.
And the story coming out right before the game that Bill Belichick had signed an extension at the start of the season was not one that Patriots fans wanted to hear. That was not one that they wanted to hear right going into this game. So, you're right. This was a win that the Patriots needed more than anything. The Bills, we needed this win, and now, we've won one game in the division. We are 1-2 in the division. That is,
and you beat the good team.
Yeah, right. You beat the better team in the division.
That one out anyway.
I heard this analyst yesterday, Jacob, and he said, Josh Allen has thrown in 4 different games has thrown an interception on his opening drive or on his opening pass.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? He goes, Josh, if you're listening, he goes, your first pass, just spike the ball. Go to your second one.
Throw it out.
Yeah.
It was Purdy. Yeah, I watched the same thing.
Yeah. I just, it was so frustrating to watch because I knew what was coming. That the defense just couldn't get a stop at all, and that was the infuriating part. As soon as because Josh went down, he actually got the score. The thing he hasn't done this year is a 2-minute drill where he's gone down and got points. He actually did it, and it was okay, defense, just get a stop against fucking Mac Jones.
Yep, and it was.
You could not stop McCorkle Jones.
It was a 2-minute drill, and it wasn't even Diggs. It was Kincaid who scored. It was, they didn't have to go to old reliable Diggs, which was a sign in the right direction for the Bills.
It was everything. It's just infuriating because we are playing a backup defense because injuries have just slaughtered us. Von Miller still isn't back. I know he's back, but he has aged in that year. The injury has made Von Miller his age. And that's not good because we've got him for another 3 years.
I'd say you paid him a lot of money.
We did. So
you need to figure out if Old Spice can split that contract with you.
We're in trouble. We are in a lot of trouble. And I don't see the way out right now. Look, the one solace I have is it was a divisional game.
Right.
They're always tough.
This is the 3rd week in a row the Bills have not looked particularly
good. And that's the concern. The game against Jags was the built-in excuse of jet lag.
Right.
Last week,
one excuse for New York.
No, but the last 2 weeks, the reason we are not playing well is our defense is a backup defense. The depth on our team is not good. We do not have any depth because we've overpaid on so many stars. Or not, I wouldn't say overpaid, but we've got so many big contract players.
Right.
Well, some are definitely overpaid. Like Ed Oliver, you definitely overpaid.
Yeah, but we are all in, and we've lost several of those all-in players to season-ending injuries, and that's just killed us. And that's unfortunately where we're at right now. There isn't a week ago I was saying, hey, we needed to go all in and get a trade to help this. A trade's not fixing this.
That's what I was just going to ask you. I mean, trade deadline's obviously coming up here in the next week, right? And Derrick Henry's been rumored to potentially be one of those guys. Do you think the Bills try to make that work and get Derrick? They're passing 75% of the time.
Look, I don't think so because the O-line's not great. Josh Allen had so much pressure on him that the O-line was really not good. Now, maybe that gets fixed if we have a running game that hey, we've got to keep O-lines honest. So maybe that if we do go get Derrick Henry, then that maybe that will help. But we need help on defense, and I don't know if we're gonna get that. So yeah, if we decided fuck it, we need to go all in on offense. I just don't want to give up a first, and I think you're gonna have to get Derrick Henry. Like we need to rebuild.
You think you'd take a first to get Derrick Henry?
I think it would. I think it would because
the Bills are desperate. Fair enough.
No, but Titans would have to take some of the contract. We can't afford Derrick Henry right now. Like as is, Titans would have to take some of the contract. So to do that, Titans would have to get a first.
I think a second and a fifth would probably get it. Like something a second and
maybe. Yeah,
you could package a second with something else. So, I don't think you need to give it first, but we'll see how the Bills turn out because this is
we are in a bit of trouble. But the stupid thing is, I think we can still beat the Dolphins. I actually think we can beat the Dolphins. I actually think we can beat. There are teams in the AFC. We can't beat the bad teams, but we can beat the good ones. I actually think we can beat some of these good teams, but we're struggling against these bad teams, and I'm just confused.
All right, moving on. Well, speaking of New York, let's talk about the other New York team. Hilarious to me that you're paying $40 million to the second best quarterback on your team.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Seriously.
Yeah,
good.
Keep in mind, Daniel Jones in the first 5 games of the season threw 2 touchdowns. Tyrod Taylor did that in 1 game.
What is the stat? New York finally got their very first quarter touchdown of the season.
Yeah,
I love it.
So many firsts for New York in this game.
Sorry, I hate the Giants so much.
Conversely, though, Sam Howell is gonna die. Sam Howell, we are going to watch Sam Howell die on the field of play. He's currently been sacked 40 times. He's currently on pace to smash the record set by David Carr in 2004.
Yeah,
it was so off the radar going in. We were all talking about how bad the Jets' offensive line was. We were all talking about how bad Denver's offensive line. There were so many different teams. We just forgot about Washington, and this is by far the worst.
Oh yeah.
Next week's going to be. I really do think next week's Ron Rivera's last game. I think they lose to the Eagles, and then that's Ron Rivera's last game.
Well, I mean, Jonathan Allen's really pissed off. He's the most pissed off. It's I'm sick. I'm fucking sick of this shit. Literally, I'm fucking sick of this shit. Tired of fucking losing.
Because I was gonna say wait until the bye, but their bye is late. They're a week 14 bye. So
Con, real quick, I will play Jonathan Allen clip. I don't have it. I did not have time to pull it.
It's so good.
It was good. I will have it next week if the Eagles lose again, or if the Commanders lose again, which they probably will.
If
yeah, I know I said if, but they probably won't. I will have the clip next week. But yeah, Washington is just a fucking mess. My favorite announcement of this game came from Magic Johnson, who said
oh my gosh, yes.
It's part owner of the Washington Commanders, Magic Johnson, who said it's really hard to win games when you only score 7 points. It was yeah, no shit. Thank you, Magic Johnson.
There's an old George Foreman, because George Foreman was the worst color commentary in the history of color commentary.
Oh my god!
But they just obviously he's one of the best boxers of all times, right? So they just have George there, and George, I'll never fucking forget this. I play this every once in a while when I'm having a shitty day. George Foreman goes, they said, what's your predictions on the fight? And he says, I think whoever lands the most punches will win. And I don't even know the other, the main announcer, but he just looks at the camera and goes, thanks, George. Here's your fucking cookie. Thanks, Magic. Here's your cookie. Good job there, pal. Well, good prediction.
Yeah, again, commies are a fucking mess. They have some talent, some really talented pieces. Do they offload is the question. Trade deadline's coming out. Do they start offloading stuff?
Get rid of Chase Young. Get that first round pick, because you will get a first round pick for him. I think
he played really well this past weekend too.
Yeah. I think my frustration is I think they should have fired Rivera yesterday. Mm-hmm. This weekend, go. All right, the enemy. Here is your audition. You have 10 weeks. Here is your audition. If you if the team plays better, then
Confident.
you're all right. We'll keep you. Otherwise, yeah. So here is your 10 weeks. That way and I know it's against the Eagles, but hey, the Commanders are a little frisky against the Eagles.
They play well against the Eagles.
Yeah. So the enemy. Let's see how you go as head coach against them, and that would tell you whether or not you're offloading or not. And I think, but now Rivera's going to play. They're going to lose, and there's going to be the question mark. I think they should offload, but then you're really throwing the enemy under the bus of, hey, play with this team that we've just offloaded absolutely everyone.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's.
I'll just treat it as a scratch to see how he does.
Yeah, but if I'm the enemy, I'm also like, you can't judge me on this then.
Well, that's the thing.
That's what I say to
him. Scratch. It's just like, just see how well you do as a coach, and then we'll give you some actual pieces to work with.
Yeah. But I think there are two coaches who I think should be fired, and their OCs should be given an audition, and this is one of them.
I think I know the other one, and I think that's a fucking mistake, and we'll get to that later. Yeah. Up next, let's talk about a player who just frustrates the ever-living shit out of us. Desmond Ridder and the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, so I mentioned the 3 teams to never bet on. The Falcons are one of them.
This game was so frustrating to watch. It was just not good. If the
Falcons lost this game, I think Desmond Ridder would be the non-stonks of the week for all of us. The fact that you have like several miracle plays just to fumble in the very next play.
Yep.
Like look, Drake London has an incredible catch to get at the goal line. Like he nearly broke his fucking neck trying to break
his neck doing it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And Ridder fumbles the ball on the very next play.
Like it's so frustrating. Okay. Oh, I wanted to ask: did you guys all think that was a touchdown? Drake London's was a touchdown?
No.
After the replays, no.
No, I thought he dropped it.
Initially, I did. Yeah, I'm with Mike. Because that was a play I saw live. And I was like, oh, that's fucking good for you. Well done. And like fucking going all out for your team. And then, once they replayed it again, I was like,
I was like, so that one I think they shouldn't have awarded. And then because that one they did it.
They didn't award it.
I thought they did. Okay, sorry.
No. Like he was declared out. He was declared down and out at the 1 yard.
6-inch yard.
And then they fumbled. And then they fumbled
the next play.
Yeah, and then Ridder fumbled the very next play.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. We spent 10 minutes looking at this thing for just them to fumble at the next play. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dude, where is Bijan, man? What is going on there?
That's the thing. So
what the fuck is going on in Atlanta?
So what happened with Bijan is bizarre because we had no word that he was questionable or potentially sick or just out of this game. He has 1 carry for 3 yards, and he's taken out. And we're just like, what? Then it comes out after that he's being evaluated for health issues. It's like, why was this not done before the game?
The carry for 3 yards was in the third quarter. He had one missed catch, and then they put him in for 1 play in the third quarter, and then he didn't play again. It's like, it was weird.
I know Arthur Smith doesn't care about fantasy, but good God.
Okay, so here is my big takeaway about all of this. And it's one of those weird, hey, this is weird. This could get Falcons in a bit of trouble because we're going to start seeing more and more of this. The NFL every week going, especially given how much gambling is coming into the sport. But the NFL, this is, and I don't like this. I think this is a mistake, but I can see it coming. The NFL is going to start questioning coaches and for reasons for why they're doing stuff. Instead of just being the coach going, because for the first drive he did X and I didn't like it, so I pulled him out. And that is a legitimate reason. He is the head coach of the NFL team. If a player does something he doesn't like, he's allowed to pull him out for whatever reason. There doesn't have to be a reason. But because of gambling, because of fantasy, because of all of this, you are going to start seeing the NFL scrutinize more and more about this, and coaches aren't going to feel comfortable pulling players that for whatever reason they should or shouldn't. Like there's going to be that's my big takeaway from all of this. Like, I don't really care that Bijan Robinson was feeling sick or whatever. Like, if whatever reason he didn't play,
I mean, I do. It cost me a game, so.
but like, okay, but like, cool. It cost you fantasy. Arthur Smith is the coach. It's his choice. He can decide what he wants to do. I'm more for empowering coaches and that they can do whatever they can do what they want for their team. I can just see where this is going, and I don't like where it's going to go. Because Chance, you're right. That mindset is what the NFL fears. Because DraftKings are going to go, hey, we're going to pull some of our funding. Like, that's the concern. At least from the NFL perspective. And that ultimately impacts the sport. It hurts the sport. And that's a concern.
Listen, sometimes you have to make the hard decisions. Ted Lasso benched Jamie Tart and won the game. So listen, I'm with Jacob on this. You need to make sure that you're not scrutinizing coaches, but I also agree with you. It's inevitable. It's going to happen.
No, yeah, it's going to happen. Like, and it's not the fantasy I care about. It's just odd that like you're not getting this dude checked out before he suits up.
Yeah.
And then he's going to carry in the third quarter.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the NFL is a sport, but it's a business first and foremost.
Right. Yeah.
And a business has to turn a profit. Has to. Yeah. And if profits are in question or going to be marginalized, big problems.
If the legitimate reason that he wasn't playing was because he was feeling sick or whatever, then there are questions that should be asked about this specific moment here. And I can understand that there should be, at least as a fan, being like, that's weird. That's a little weird. Hey, maybe we should, like, the NFL should look into why he was, from just purely health perspective. But if he was, if Arthur Smith came out and said he pissed me off, so I pulled him, that's a legitimate reason. That should be.
I love the tweet where just like Arthur Smith got beat on after fucking his wife.
Yeah, something like if it's that is a legitimate reason that he should that Arthur Smith has to pull him for. Like he's just like he did something that pissed me off, so I pulled him. Cool, I understand that. Now
Lord knows I've been pulled from a lot of games for pissing my coach off. So.
But like the NFL should get involved for concussions and for health reasons. If there is a legitimate health concern and the coach doesn't pull players and it is a legitimate health, then yes, that's the caveat to all of this. Anyway, let me just get off my soapbox.
All right.
Look, Tampa's terrible, but Mike Evans paying off big time for me this year in fantasy. Thank you, Mikey Evans. Always loved you, buddy. Baker, you're Baker Mayfield. You fucking play.
You are Baker Mayfield.
Yes, you are still Baker Mayfield.
I'm
no
really
change in status.
Years ago, we talked to Tom Moore, then at Indianapolis, the offensive coordinator.
This is what Reggie Sanchez not expecting, and it was the backside of Brandon Moore.
Why are we playing the butt fumble?
No, because you see, Mike, you don't learn a lesson. So I had to take more drastic measures. So any Kenny Pickett, any unfounded Kenny Pickett slander or Steelers slander will be followed by me you reliving the butt fumble with the Whopper song.
It's so good. It's so good.
Okay.
Moving on. Next game. Detroit Lions versus Baltimore. We thought this was going to be a big showcase for, a big test for both teams. Again, Detroit facing off against probably the best team that they played so far. Baltimore playing against a really scrappy team in Detroit.
Well, the best defense they've played.
Fuck, what the hell happened to Detroit?
What happened was MVP Lamar showed up.
Yeah.
This was vintage Lamar.
He was awesome. He was fantastic in this game.
He was incredible. Look, Any other week, this is upset of the week. Just from a pure, what the
Agreed.
fuck happened here? Like, just any other week. But this was this feels like the 49ers Cowboys game.
Mm-hmm.
Where afterwards we all walk out and we're all praising, going, "Oh my God, how good are the Ravens?" I should have been more cautious after the Cowboys 49ers game. We weren't. And we'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks. I personally just think, this is the first team that put pressure on Goff. Goff had
Big time.
a lot of pressure, and he went into pressurized Goff. Goff, when pressured, not a good quarterback. Goff without pressure, very good quarterback.
Yeah.
So that happened. We talk officiating. It's not the reason, but they got away with a lot of holds on Aiden Hutchinson. A lot of holds. And that had an impact. I think, it gave like, while watching it, I was messaging the group afterwards going, how much fucking time does Lamar Jackson need in the pocket? Like, he was just, he was there. It was like 4, 5, 6 seconds.
At one point he had like 9 seconds to throw the ball, which is the most since I think like 2016, somewhere around there.
And you just going, what is going on? And I honestly think a lot of it was that there was a lot of missed holds on Aiden Hutchinson that they just weren't calling. And look, there's a hold on every. I understand there are flags on nearly every play, so that doesn't excuse 35-0. But
no, this game was over at halftime.
No, but I think it does have an impact on the the defense is being held, and so they're staying on the field longer. And I think that there are impacts to it. I'm not writing the Lions off. They're still they're still one of the 5 best teams in the NFC. But
I still argue that they're the 3rd best team in the NFC.
Yeah, I think they are right now. But I also think that it's just this ultimately probably is a good thing for them. It's this is the kick in the mouth you needed.
Sure.
You're not as good as you thought you were. You're not there is a reality check. Now
back to reality.
But now the problem the Lions are going to have is they don't really face another tough team until later in the season. Late. They've got one more tough team, I think.
But at the same time, that does do great for building confidence, which you do need.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be it's a double-edged sword. It's one of the, hey, we're going to build a lot of confidence. We're going to go into the playoffs as a 13-4 team. But then in your first week of the playoffs, you get your teeth kicked in by the Cowboys, or you play a 49ers team or something. It's a double-edged sword. Like, you have all this confidence, but then you play a young and scrappy team that's just made it in or something. So the Lions, I think, are a good team. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl this year, but we never thought they could. I think this was more just the building blocks year of get the experience in the playoffs. And I know they've got Goff, but get this young team experience. And I think that's the whole point of this year is make it, if you can make a conference championship or a division. If you can make a division and have a competitive divisional game or get blown out in a conference, one or the other.
Mike, did Bethany watch this game?
On Red Zone. We didn't have national coverage of it, and she's like, they're never showing the Lions, and we were both kind of monitoring it, and she was not happy.
Yeah, those are her babies getting lambasted on screen.
Yeah, it was not good.
Confidence is a tricky thing because there's confidence that often leads to cockiness, right? And I'm not saying that the Lions have that, but every analyst, every news station is going, the Lions haven't done this well in this many years, and this 93. Team. So there's just so much emphasis on how well the Lions are doing this year that it's easy to just be like, you know what, fuck it, we're just gonna ride this thing. We got this. It'll be fine. We know what we're doing. And the Ravens came in and they like you said, vintage Lamar. Lamar fucking showed up, but the Ravens punched him in the mouth. Goff was under pressure constantly. So, yeah, hey, great game planning by the Ravens. The Ravens are just, I think, reaffirmed to everyone that, hey, we're still here. We're a huge contender. We're not going anywhere. Look at Lamar's back.
Yeah, and I agree. And the Ravens defense did not play any different than they played the other games. Their defensive scheme just played very well against what the Lions had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was shocking because, again, I look, I do think it's week 7. I think it is starting to get into the motions, and motivation starts becoming a factor in all of this, which is concerning because this is easily the toughest team the Lions have played. But that O-line is one of the best in football, and it was struggling. So that's a take away from this game. The other big one, and I think is a massive condemnation on the rest of the league. You had Lamar Jackson available for 2 firsts, and none of you put your hand up. Could you imagine?
You know who'd be a genuine contender with Lamar Jackson?
Falcons. Who? The Vikings?
No, I said the Falcons. The Falcons.
Oh,
Vikings.
Yeah, 100%.
Right now, the Falcons, honestly, would have a genuine argument to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. And a legitimate, genuine contender in the NFC if they had Lamar Jackson. I think they made a huge mistake. And again, is there a very real opportunity that the Ravens just match you? Yeah. But guess what? You probably would have had to force the Ravens to overpay, and you had Desmond Ridder. It's not like you had a on the cusp quarterback that you were umming and ahhing. I don't know, maybe the Browns. And you decide, hey, we're going to go publicly try and get another quarterback, and it ends up pissing off our quarterback. No, you had fucking Desmond Ridder, who you knew is not a very good quarterback. So I think, the league really, really fucked up there. So anyway.
Moving on to our 1 o'clock slates. Let's get into the big one. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus Los Angeles Rams. Now, before we even get into the game, let me just say this. My 2 co-hosts are really bad friends. Yeah, and I will tell you why. Because I will gladly root for either the Bills or the Jets if they're not playing the Steelers. I would do it because they like those teams. I want them to be happy. Hell, before the season, I said to Mike in our group chat, you know what, Mike? If it's not the Steelers, I wouldn't mind seeing the Jets in the Super Bowl. And it just sucks because they will never give me that same courtesy for whatever reason. Now, that being said, let's get to the actual game. Mark and I did have a bit of a gentleman's wager going into this game. Loser the game buys drinks for the other next time I'm in town.
Yeah, so I told Chance, I was like, hey, I'll buy a drink. Let's do a gentleman's wager on the game. I said, whatever team loses, the loser has to buy the drinks. Chance is like, on. Let's go.
Sold. Now look, for the first half, this game is okay. Stop even heard this one before. For the Steelers, offense was horrific. Defense, on the other hand, playing pretty well.
Yeah,
they did a great job of neutralizing Cooper Kupp. He was a non-factor in this game. That comes with the caveat that Puka Nacua had a pretty solid game, including one sideline grab that was pretty excellent. I will give him that.
Catch was insane. That was all, he's got his highlight reel set for the rest of his career with that one.
Puka is so much fun to freaking watch play.
Where is your jersey, Mark? Where is your jersey?
So I only buy defensive jerseys. I don't know why. I just always have. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I have a Puka shirt and I have a Cooper Kupp shirt, like t-shirts. But if I invest in the jersey, I only buy a defensive player. So I've obviously Aaron Donald. But I do think that the Rams offense, offensively, they're a lot of fun to watch. Minus our kicking game. Our kicking game is a fucking atrocious. But
R.I.P. Brett Maher.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun to see Darrell Henderson back in the mix again. I've always had a soft spot for that dude, but watching Puka, like Cooper Kupp, Tutu, like it's just fun. It's a
Tutu
great
had
receiving.
Tutu had one grab for a touchdown. Just like how was that not a pick?
But still, it's fun to watch these guys play. It's just frustrating because there's no consistency in the Rams.
Exactly.
No,
That's the biggest problem. And I've said this since the Super Bowl that I think McVay's done. Like, I think he's checked out. I think he needs to go. His wife is supposed to go into labor anytime, so it's unclear whether or not he's even going to finish the rest of the season or if he's going to go on a maternity leave. And I'm like, good, fucking go. Let's
get out.
Get out of there. Let's get an interim head coach because the Rams are look, and this is again coming from a biased standpoint as I am a Rams fan, but we're still in contention. And we really do have a very winnable schedule for the rest of the season. So there's a very good chance we're not going to win our division. The Niners are going to win the division. That's easily done. But we can very well snatch that wild card. But right now,
within reason for the Rams.
Yeah.
It's a coin flip. You know, it really is because the Rams can show up and they can just like they did against the Seahawks a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And it's like, Jesus, like that's the Rams that we should be playing. But then again, you just see these wanky play calling. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure like what to think of the rest of the season. Like I want to try to be optimistic and be like, oh, we're totally going to fucking win the rest of the schedule. But you never know what Rams team is going to show up. You can have just brilliant plays, or then you can just have Matt Stafford throw a pick directly to.
Okay, that's what I want to say. Secondly, I'm sorry, I mentioned that earlier. I also do not actively prey on the downfall of the Bills or the Jets, which they both do for the Steelers, which I don't understand why. What did I do to you?
I just
You literally said I am now praying for the Steelers to get embarrassed badly.
That was okay. Only
because you lost.
Because the Bills had just gotten embarrassed very badly, and I didn't want to be and I knew. Look, I would have said the same thing about the Jets, so that I wasn't the only one on this panel.
You are so full of fucking shit.
I was the only one sitting here going, "Oh God, how did we just lose to fucking McCorkle Jones?" Only reason.
I will say this in the Steelers' defense, the law firm of Pickett and Pickens is a ton of fun to watch
in the fourth quarter.
I was about
to say, okay, first of all, first half, offense. First half, offense.
TJ Watt's
outrageous.
Beast. TJ Watt's beast. And you know what? I fucking love Deontay Johnson. And I'm like, I'm glad to see him again, healthy, back out there playing again. But fuck, that second half was so friggin' frustrating.
For the Rams, yeah. But like second half, like we finally put together a competent half of offense. We got a competent quarter, several competent last quarters of offense. Now we got a full competent second half. I'm not sure what
Najee Harris got a touchdown. That's how your offense was clicking. Najee finally got into the end zone.
We came in this game with 5 offensive touchdowns. We scored 3 in this one game, and they were all on the ground. It was beautiful. I couldn't believe it. I thought 3 touchdowns was illegal for this team.
I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant about kickers for just a moment. Okay. Listen, NFL kickers, you have one fucking job to do. Okay. You don't have to learn an offensive scheme. You don't have to learn a defensive scheme. You don't have different fucking plays that you're going. You have one play. You have one job. And that's to kick a field goal. He misses from 40 or from 50 yards. That's his first miss of the game. Okay. Listen. It's not fucking 1992 where Morton Anderson is the only kicker who can fucking make a 50-yarder, okay? That's the standard nowadays. 50 yards is nothing. 50 yards should be gimme points. And then when we actually need you to give us a point, you miss the extra point. Like, I don't understand, like, how there are so many bad kickers in the NFL. Like, don't get me wrong. There are consistent ones, but the kickers that make the top dollar are terrible.
I mean, to be fair, this is your own stupid fault for hiring.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, absolutely, it is.
It's not like Brett Maher didn't tell you exactly who he was last year.
Thank you for not signing Zerline long term. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Again, we could wheel out 96-year-old Morton Anderson. He could have fucking done a better job this past weekend. I know I'm picking on Mort, but Mort's a legend.
Hey, Chance.
Yes.
Do you know how much the universe absolutely just wants to spite you specifically?
Whoa.
How?
So your quarterback is a guy who plays fucking awful for 3 quarters, then pulls out some miracle in the last play to win the game.
We got Tom Brady.
Yeah, you got Tom Brady who's shit. But who can somehow pull off some miracle play in the last quarter.
It's the weird thing with Pittsburgh where, like, if we can stay in the game, Kenny Pickett will somehow pull a clutch drive out of his ass. I don't know how he does it, but he does it on a consistent basis.
And
I just love that. I just love that the universe is just like, nope, we're gonna give you Diet Tom Brady.
You should have Tom Brady your entire life? Okay, fine. Here you go. You got your own Tom Brady now. I'm like, okay,
Tom Brady
Kenny,
0.
If you get me 6 Super Bowls, I will soften on Tom Brady. But look, I will say, yeah, Pittsburgh took the lead. They stopped the Rams on defense. But first of all, I will say, TJ Watt got an interception, 7th in his career. He now joins Lawrence Taylor as the only other player to have 70 sacks and 7 picks in their career. And he's just getting started. Again, defensive player of the year, beast, never leaving TJ Watt. But what Pittsburgh still had to ice the game. This is where we get to the heinous part of the game as far as refs go, at least as is perceived. There was a Mike.
As perceived.
Mike, let me finish. Let me finish. There was a bad PI call that. Maybe it was PI, maybe not, but that was negated by taunting from Deontay Johnson, which I'm just like, man, you picked the worst. You picked the worst possible time to chase Claypool. You really did. Then okay, look, it's 4th and 1. You do what do? You do a QB sneak. You got a touchdown on that. You got a first down off of that early in the game. Just do that. You get it. The Rams, McVay used all his timeouts. So you get this first down, 3 knees, you win the game. Pickett takes a snap. I'm not sure what happened. I think he slipped or something because he appeared to be short. I say appeared to be because he was not. The spot of the ball was showed to be a first down. And here's the thing. Because McVay had no timeouts, he couldn't challenge. And because it was just outside the 2-minute warning, it's not going to get reviewed.
You mentioned comparing him to Tom Brady. This was the most Tom Brady fucking call of all time. Because they gave him a first down that was not a first down.
No, let me finish. Was Pickett short? Was he short? Who's to say? But I will say this.
He was short.
This is Chewbacca.
Here we go.
He is a Wookiee.
Okay, he's going into
the planet Kashyyyk.
Defense.
He lives on Endor. That doesn't make sense.
No, he doesn't.
Mike,
Chewie doesn't live on Endor.
He's on Kashyyyk.
Let me finish. Why would a Wookiee, an 8-foot-tall Wookiee, want to live on Endor with a bunch of 2-foot Wookiees? That doesn't make sense. What does it have to do with the game? Nothing. Why am I bringing it up? I don't know. But I can say that it doesn't make sense. And if this doesn't make sense, then you have to give Pickett the first down. I rest my case.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
Look, this is where I go. It's the flaw in the rule, and I'm going to call it, and I am going to call out McVay. This is why you always have a time. You always have to have a time.
That's why I question why coaches use all the time out for a 2-minute warning. That just never made sense.
That's McVay, man. He always
this one's bad. It's bad, but it's one of those refs literally in a no-win scenario. They because in a pile on, you're kind of going, it's a 50-50, but they can't review. If it was me, I'd have gone it short and gone, hey, Steelers, can you challenge? You try and go with the team that does have the challenge if you're 50-50. But I get why not, because then anyway, McVay, you had to have a timeout. You had the 2-minute warning coming right there. Like, use that instead. I think that's on McVay, and that is the McVay problem.
That's the McVay
This one
problem.
isn't as egregious as the Browns game. It's bad, but it's not as bad as the Browns game. I don't think there's a reason
if he was shorts, it would not be as bad as the Browns game.
Well, and here's the thing, like, it's still a coin flip whether or not the Rams are going to turn around and score a touchdown. They weren't really doing much offensively in the whole second half anyway. So it's just frustrating that something like I'll bash McVay again. I bashed him earlier. I'm okay with him. Go on maternity leave, Sean. It's okay. The dude strings out these plays, and he waits and he waits and he waits to snap until the last fucking second. He does this. He's always out of timeouts. This happened, I don't believe it was last year, but the previous season.
The Super Bowl year.
Yeah, Super Bowl year. Same thing. Like, there was a challenge that needed to be challenged, but he couldn't fucking make it. So, yeah, this is absolutely on McVay. But I will say, when it's that close, we have the technology.
Yeah.
It's a field
this
ruling.
This one's more of a process problem than an actual refs problem. I think that's more, hey, NFL, you might want to look at this. But also I go, the NFL's response, and very rightfully, is don't use your fucking timeouts. Don't waste your timeouts then. And that's fair. A coach knew I need to not waste my timeouts. And so I'm not as egregious around this one as a lot of other people, outside of the fact that the Steelers won, and then I'm the only one on here with a fucking embarrassing loss.
This is the weird thing about Pittsburgh this year. Like, we've literally been outgained on offense in every single game we played, and we're 4-2. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Like, there's only one explanation: Mike Tomlin is secretly a voodoo shaman. The only way this makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
One thing I will say about the Rams, though, remember how last year we were saying, oh boy, hold that ring tight because you're in for a really long rebuild? They're not. They're only like 2 or 3 years.
They need a couple pieces. They'll be back.
Yeah, like it's the rebuild isn't as bad as we thought it would be last year. It's like you're still going to be perennial contenders. As in, like, in your division, you're not in for a blow it all up full-blown rebuild. I think McVay needs to get out of LA. I think that's what McVay's biggest problem. He needs McVay,
we're about to have an opening in our OC department. If you want to come, help us.
He's a head coach. He's a head coach.
Canada. As much as they win, keep Canada.
Yeah, he is absolutely a head coach, and he will be a head coach. I think he will be either an analyst or a head coach somewhere else. Someone else will hire him as a head coach before he takes a
He's got a newborn. He's young guy. I can absolutely see him taking an analyst gig for a little while, and then he'll eventually take over for the Raiders.
I will be back, and I will be stressed.
All right. Good luck with that, Jacob.
That's right.
No, it's not. I'm not like putting him in timeout. He's going to watch the final inning of the Diamondbacks Phillies game.
I would have liked if you would have put him in timeout, though. Some of his comments about the university. I
don't do timeouts anymore.
Well, years ago we talked to Tom Moore, then at Indianapolis, the offensive coordinator.
I don't do timeouts. I just make like the most painful moment of his football life.
I love that video so much.
Up next, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking on. I'll find out if Jacob was not here. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, Jacob's not here. Seattle Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. Look, I will say, like we said, Arizona, are they scrappy? Yes. Are they starting to look like the team we thought they were going to be this year? Absolutely.
Exactly. Like, there's only so much in the current NFL that scrappiness is going to bring you if you don't have the talent. When you're playing a team like Seattle, Seattle's solid. Like, Seattle is a team that really doesn't have a ton of holes anywhere. You know, even with having Geno as your quarterback, they have enough around him that they can win. They can win with Geno Smith. Geno Smith has looked so much better with Seattle than he did in any of his other teams.
He did.
And when you're the Arizona Cardinals, who are also down several players with injury at this point, so you're playing a team that essentially was backups to begin with, and now you're playing the backups of the backups. This is going to happen.
Absolutely. And look, I will say, like I got a lot of the rookies that were stepping out. First of all, the only 100-yard rushing game we had this weekend came in this game, and it was Kenneth Walker, who played really well. Yeah. We had 2 pass touchdowns, both off of rookies. One from Jake Bobo, which I love saying that, Bobo. Jake Bobo, and JSN, who finally showed up. He finally did something.
Well, no DK definitely contributed to that. But.
Yeah. DK Metcalf being suspended for being a dipshit helps, but again, Seattle, if they can just keep this pace, I can see them getting a playoff spot.
Sure.
Oh, easy. They actually, they'll either, if they can catch up to the 49ers, they're either going to win the division or be the 5 seed. Like I don't see too much of a variance in that. They're going to have the 2 seed or the 5 seed, and there's no in between.
Seattle solid.
Absolutely. I wish Jacob was here for this next game. And again, we're just going away from that one because we feel we just don't have much to say. I mean, we know the Cardinals are bad.
No.
We know Seattle's again looking good, barring a few games, but not much to say on that one. Up next, I wish Jacob was here for this one because this was for those who follow internet sports commentator. This was a very special event. This was the GPS Bowl. The Green Bay Packers versus the Denver Broncos.
I had the cast on, by the way. I had Red Zone on, and I also had that cast on the side. So I can listen to them.
Look, I'm gonna say this: the Packers might be the worst first half team in the NFL, and I say that as somebody who watches the Steelers every week.
Yeah, they're up there. That's a fair statement.
Like they can't. Doesn't matter who they're playing. They can't do anything in the first half.
And the thing is this is a team in the Broncos that, like, so many teams have shown already, just run the damn ball and they can't stop you. And the Packers, who have a very, very competent, one of the best 1-2 punches in football in running back, didn't even attempt it.
No.
Yeah,
didn't even try to run the ball. Like, and again, like even like passing wise, look again, the one of us who said Jordan Love was it is not here right now. Jordan Love's got some ways to go. He's looked pretty rough the past couple weeks.
Packers have a lot of deficiencies. Their offensive line definitely needs, Bakhtiari being out definitely is hurting them.
It does hurt.
And this is a team that right now just like doesn't have any semblance of an identity. And we've talked about this before. They just don't know what they're doing right now. Jordan Love is not the guy. He's not the guy at the moment. Does he have potential?
Can he be the guy? Sure.
I don't know.
Possibly. I mean, the possibility exists. He could be the guy.
Yeah. I think the sample size isn't large enough yet to definitively make that call, which is kind of, I was thinking about this earlier today with the trade deadline. Like, does Green Bay trade? Maybe try to go for first, but they've already invested a lot into Love, which is shocking to me that, like,
they're paying Love next year anyway.
Yeah,
they try to trade. They're paying him next year anyway.
Oh, for sure. So I'm leaning more with Mike too. I'm not confident in Jordan Love. I don't think he's the guy. At least maybe not for Green Bay. But I also have to be patient and see a larger sample size. Like, by the end of the season, is he still going to continue to be the starter? Is there going to be shows of progression? I don't know. This was a weird game because honestly, like, you had like 2-4 teams or 2-3 teams. It was just a weird fucking game.
Well, it was a 1-5 and
1-5 on the Broncos. Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. 1-5 on the Broncos. And like the Broncos have just kind of become the like butt end of the joke of the NFL right now.
Well, and you brought it up, and like the Brendan Partner's videos have just amplified everything, and I so identify with him as a Jets fan, like in all the pain he's going through right now and all those, but that dude is raking in the cash on all of those videos. So he doesn't have anything to worry about. But like the Broncos have had such a spotlight on all of their mistakes and anything they've done in the games that like has even gotten the slightest bit wrong. They've been spotlighted so much more than so many other teams that yes, they are a bad team. There's no denying that I think they're a bottom 10 team in the league right now. But when you're playing a team like Green Bay, as opposed to some of these other teams they played, even the Jets, even the game against the Jets ran the ball down their throats, so, and they also have a better defense than Green Bay. And Green Bay is not a terrible defense, but the Broncos in this game, I felt like they went back to basics more than they had in some of their other games, went with a lot more short passes, established a pretty decent run game. It wasn't anything spectacular, but they were able to, they got 4 yards of run, that's how you win games. And when you're playing a team like Green Bay that's struggling like this, when you have a well-balanced offense, which surprisingly the Broncos did, they didn't put up a ton of points, but they managed to have it. I just thought it was going to be the funniest thing ever if they lost 17-16 off that deflected touchdown. If that touchdown had ended that game, I think Brendan Perna, I watched it live, and Brendan Perna lost his mind what happened. If that had ended the game, oh my Lord, that would have been the best ending of any game ever.
That would have been the greatest. That might have. I know he sat through 70, and he didn't quit. Then that might have made him quit.
I will say, Russell Wilson looked a little vintage this game.
That's the thing. He's looked better this year.
Yeah,
it's at the expense of everything else.
There was one 13, 14 yard rush that he did where it was like, oh damn, look at Russell with the wheels. He still had it. So, the dude was an all-pro quarterback. That's a bad team.
Yeah. He has a step, sure, but any quarterback going from, again, a decade of the same shit to somewhere else is going to have some growing pains. Doesn't matter who you are.
And you had an amazing scheme in Seattle. There's the comparison I always like to make recently is, you talk about Brady and Belichick, who made who, and it looks like it was more so Brady. Then you have Carroll and Wilson. It was Carroll. And and now you got, it's showing when he moved to the other team. It's like, okay, he doesn't have the coaching that he needed.
I just think Russell Wilson's a good quarterback. It's he's not good enough to overcome a bad scheme.
Yeah.
That's what we've been finding out. Up next, final game of the afternoon slate. The Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And look, I'm just going to say this right now. I cannot watch the Chiefs anymore this season. I won't do it. I refuse. As long as the devil is in the house with the worst devil in Brittany Mahomes, as long as she's there, I cannot. She makes me not want to watch this team anymore. So I will now defer to the rest of you for all my Chiefs commentary. And
I'm okay with Taylor Swift. It's making Travis Kelce get 12 catches a game for fucking 180 yards. Let's go. Yeah, Travis Kelce. I got him in a couple leagues. Fuck yeah,
there you go.
I got no beef with him showing off for the Swifties. Okay, I'm going to say this. I understand that there has been injuries that have plagued the Chargers.
Yes.
That being said, this is the NFL. A person goes down, the next person steps up. Look at what happened in Chicago with the quarterback situation, right?
Right.
On paper, the Chargers still should be kicking ass and taking names. They really should be.
A top 10 in the AFC. They should be a borderline playoff contender.
Absolutely.
Diamondbacks are going to the World Series. Sorry.
Oh, hey. All right.
That's gonna be a fun series. I'm really excited to watch that series.
So am I. And you know what's really shitty? I'm out of the state for all 3 of the games in Arizona. Because I have a wedding.
Well, if if they win the World Series, you'll probably be the first team to get Shohei because we are definitely losing him from the Angels.
I didn't know this game.
Okay, when I was a kid, the Rams played at Angel Stadium. We used to
True.
sneak into games because like the Rams were terrible forever. So we would just sneak into the Angels games for free or into Angel Stadium. So yeah, I was born in Anaheim Rams at the time, California Angels. But no, back to
the conversation.
Yeah, back to my rants about the Chargers. Brandon Staley is not the guy for them.
Oh, we knew that last year.
Dude.
Yep.
We've known that for months.
I think if they lose the next game, he's fired.
Has to be.
Has to be.
Earlier, I said there were two coaches who needed to be fired to give their coordinators an audition.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other one.
This is it.
Look, the problem is he's not going. I don't think they're going to lose next week because they play the Bears
In prime time.
I know. How did this not get flexed?
Yeah.
This was when the Bills Giants didn't get flexed, I thought it was because they were flexing this one and they can only flex 2 of them. So I was like, oh, this is the one that they're going to, because they, in the first, up until week 10, they can only flex 2 games.
Yep.
The Jets Raiders is absolutely getting flexed. I'm shocked that hasn't happened already. I thought this would be the other one that they would have flexed, but whatever. Yeah, I have no idea. Right now, I would fire Staley right now and audition Kellen Moore. I don't think Kellen Moore should get the head coaching job, even if he's good. Because look, out of all the available coaching gigs, I think this is the best gig that's going to be that people are going to want. And I think there is a certain Lions coordinator who is going to want to come here, and that's who I think. Yeah. But at least I would be more. Hey, Kellen Moore, we're going to do right by you. Here's your audition so that you can put on tape when you go try and get a head coaching job at another team like, I don't know, the Raiders, maybe even or something. Because I could see that happening next year.
But yeah, look, Patrick Mahomes had a great game, but that's to be expected when you're playing the literal worst passing defense in the entire NFL.
Well, how is Kelsey that open? How is Kelsey that open?
Brandon Staley,
but I can't. I like every team. No other team knows how to do it. So it's just Kelsey at this point.
I'm gonna blame it on Taylor Swift.
One thing I don't know if you guys, I do just want to mention about this game. The surprising thing that is amazing as well. Last week they weren't great against the worst defense in football, but this week he was against the worst pass defense in football. So that is, I think, a thing for the Chiefs. The worst pass defense in football. Mahomes doesn't cover well. There's a lot of things about the Chiefs where they're in the grind a lot this season. This game, he kind of stood up and went, nope, we're winning this game. And they did. They came out, they won this game, they won it well. So I'm going to give the Chiefs credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I couldn't credit for playing against a bad team, but you're not going to win extra brownie points for me if that makes sense. Just because you're the best quarterback in the game and you're playing the worst passing defense. I expect you to get 400 yards in that case. If you don't, there's a big problem. But yeah, good win for the Chiefs. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that one. Sunday night, we had the Miami Dolphins taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles rocking their Kelly green uniforms again for the first time in a while. They looked awesome.
Yeah.
And to compliment that, they played awesome.
Yeah.
Jacob called this.
I would like my flowers now, please.
No.
No, actually, okay. I almost called it to a T, and I'm so annoyed by it because if Hurts doesn't throw that fucking pick, I do call it to a T. I said they win by 21 points, and Hill has makes less than 100 yards. They win by 14 points without the pick. It's 21. I'm so mad about that.
Yeah. Look, but this is another game where like ref ball played a big part because the Eagles literally had no penalties all night.
Mm-hmm.
They should have
Which
had
was
at least
crazy.
4. At least
Yeah.
4.
They've had at least 4. But they had no penalties, which was bizarre considering there were some Look, I don't care how great and how well disciplined you are. You're going to get at least a few penalties.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a holding, pass interference.
This
Yeah,
isn't like
absolutely.
quite as egregious as like the Browns game was, in that like I don't think that the lack of penalties truly changed the outcome of this game.
That's the thing. Like, I think that Miami would have lost the game regardless, but like still.
But still, exactly. That's exactly where I was going with that. It's like, yeah, there's no team right now that is going to go through any game and not get a penalty called on them. And when you rewatch the game, there's definitely at least 2 blatant holds. So, you know, I understand the Dolphins fans' frustration with this game. I don't think the outcome of this game changes if those calls are made. But this game did exactly what Jacob said was going to happen. It exposed the Dolphins' defense. And the offense played against a competent defense because the Eagles' defense did very well. You know, they did let up some big plays, but at the same time, it was a bend, don't break scenario, which nobody has really done against the Dolphins this year, which is how you have to beat them. And there are several teams that are going to scheme that way against the Dolphins. Looking at their own division in the Patriots and the Jets, when they play them on certain games, they're going to get exposed.
Well, okay, Patriots are the only other team that have played the Dolphins tough outside of the Bills this year. Now, honestly, if Patriots have a better quarterback, they win that game.
They win that game. Yeah.
Like their offense was the reason they lost that game. And they gave the blueprint for how the Bills then beat them. And this game and the Bills game were so identical, it's not even funny. Like it's these are 2 teams that have 2 of the best offenses in football. Oh, wait, one of them has a good defense. And that's what happened. And I just Waddle going out early did hurt, admittedly. Like, yes, that is. And their run game hasn't been good since Achane got injured.
Right.
And that is having an impact. But this is the same thing that happened last year, except Tua got injured. Like,
it's Tua last year.
Remember last year? They started so hot. And then Tua got injured and they started to fall back. And we all went, oh, it's because Tua got injured. I think it's just who this team is. They start off hot in September and then start to go, and then people start going, oh, that's how you beat them. And that's, yeah.
Do you remember when Michael Vick first went to the Eagles? The first couple of weeks, any team that played the Vick Eagles could not figure anything out. And then they got blown out. And from that point forward, the team did nothing. And I think this is a similar scenario to what the Dolphins might be facing. Now, the Dolphins offense is so good that they are going to be in contention. Like, they are still firmly in the playoff conversation. I'm not saying anything other than that. But the blueprint to take them down is out there.
It's there.
But that's what's so infuriating. And again, I'm going to keep mentioning this because it's fucking pissing me off. That's what's so infuriating about this Bills loss this week. Because the Chiefs game in 2 weeks, I thought there was half a chance the Dolphins could beat the Chiefs. I thought there was half a chance. I don't think it's happening, but there was half a chance because of the overseas element of it. I thought, and it's the first time Tyreek Hill has played against the Chiefs since moving. Like, there were elements in there.
Yeah.
But now I can't now. And so as a Bills guy going, well, we'll win the division, but I want the number 1 seed and the Chiefs are my rival. I don't know if we're winning the division now. So I need the Chiefs actually to win that game. Like, we're not getting the number 1 seed. I need the Chiefs to win that game because the Dolphins are still a threat because the Bills keep fucking blowing it.
Yeah, but either way, quality in for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts played a really excellent game here. This is a
huge bounce back.
Huge bounce back from last week.
After the Jets lost, like the Eagles like had the chip on the shoulder and played like it. Like, that was the game the Eagles needed to play. They did exactly what they needed to do.
Yeah.
And now this is also the time where they start to add, because it was announced that Monday morning they traded the Titans for safety Kevin Byard, who I profess one of the best safeties in the league. They needed it. All it cost them was Terrell Edmonds, a fifth, and something else. Like nothing major. Kevin Byard.
You know, I need. This is a very serious question. What photos does Howie have of the Titans? Honestly,
yeah,
keep fleecing this team
so bad and just stealing players. He's just like, hey, I'm taking this for nothing. Like, what? How do you do this? Like, again, how Vrabel hasn't just gone, fuck you and quit, I will never understand.
Yeah, 1 first for AJ Brown, and it looks like a fucking steal.
AJ Brown, by the way, first of all, his 5th consecutive game with 125 or more receiving yards, tying Calvin Johnson, and he currently once again has more receiving yards than every Titans receiver combined.
Entire Titans team,
look, AJ Brown, probably the most underrated wide receiver in football right now.
Like, I don't think he's underrated. I think he's pretty.
Okay, I think
he is. Like,
outside of Tyreek, he is not considered a top 5. Outside of Tyreek Hill, I think he is the best quarterback, wide receiver in the game right now.
Yep.
Interesting.
I agree. I've
always thought. I mean, I've going into this. I thought it was top 5, so I never thought that.
I don't think most people do. I think they've got. I think they've got Jefferson, who obviously, if Jefferson's playing, I would put him above but it's hard because he's not playing right now. Devontae Adams, I think he's playing better than Devontae Adams easily right now.
Currently he has a better quarterback than Devontae Adams, so that's pretty easy.
Metcalf, if people have
nobody puts Metcalf top 5. If you're going consensus top 5, it's like Jefferson, Diggs, Hill, Adams.
Yeah, he's playing better than Diggs. He's playing better than Diggs. He's playing better than Jamar.
And Jamar Chase. Yeah, those are the 5. It's Hill, Jefferson, Diggs, Devontae, and what were you said? Chase, or Cup, or Cup will probably rotate in.
But I think I mean, and Cup. Sorry, Cup, the other one. I think. Sorry. Yeah, I think absolutely. AJ Brown's outside of Tyreek Hill, he is the best wide receiver in football right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can you could definitely make that argument.
Yeah.
Moving on to our last game, and this was our upset of the week. Didn't even take a poll. I know this is the answer. It's the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. We all thought, okay, it's gonna be Kirk Cousins prime time. We've seen this movie. We know how it goes. Did not go that way. Did not go that way at all.
This is Kirk Cousins' best career performance. I've never seen Kirk Cousins as good as this. This was, and what's frustrating the most is, honestly, it felt like an audition, and it's not going to be. He's not getting traded. That's what I think is the most infuriating part about it. Is you watched it and you went, "Oh my God, you would be so good on a good team." And I know the one you're about to make, and I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. I don't know if the 49ers do it.
Well, here's the thing, though, is you talk about the audition. It might be for next year, too, because, right now, if the Vikings are going to franchise him, they are screwed if they franchise him.
They can't franchise him.
So the audition part of this, there are so many teams right now who need a quarterback. This game just made his potential next contract go up. Way up.
I just think if he was willing, and look, we were saying before that 7th spot in the NFC, there's 2 teams in the South. The 2 teams in the South, the Rams and the Vikings, just put themselves in the conversation.
The Vikings schedule the next 5 weeks is not that bad.
No, it's nice.
Very well.
And the craziest part about all of this, and I know, and look, I want to give the Vikings their flowers because they deserve it. Kirk Cousins deserves his flowers more than how fucking awful the 49ers were. But Kirk Cousins deserves this. He did this without Jefferson.
Yeah.
Jefferson didn't play. and he did this.
Although he did have one pass that should have been intercepted that Jordan Addison had to will into the end zone.
Play of the year.
Oh my God.
Honestly.
Yeah, I think that's the play of the year.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
This also brings up a lot of questions. Like, look, remember in our group chat when you all were saying, like, oh, Brock Purdy, MVP. How's that looking right now?
Yeah, no good. No good. Okay.
Trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. Oh, hey, Frez.
Dolphins game was the Jacob knows what he's talking about. Fuck me. Oh, here we go. Jacob knows what he's talking about. He's really good. And stupid internet. Fuck you. That was last week. This game, this week, this game was the Jacob. Stick with your fucking convictions in preseason, because I called this in preseason, and then after the Cowboys game, I went, no, I was wrong. Nope, he had to be Tom Brady, and he's not at all. And all it took was 2 injuries, and they're in trouble. 49ers are in a lot of trouble.
Look, I get it. You don't have Deebo Samuel, you don't have Trent Williams, but like you got Brandon Ayuk, you got George Kittle, you got McCaffrey.
Brock Purdy, look, when you have that many weapons, when that whole team is assembled, and no kidding, Deebo's hurt. Deebo's a bowling ball, man. Like, that guy actively looks to like hit people when he like has the ball in his hand. So it's not surprising that he's injured often. But Brock Purdy is, I don't want to call it like a product of like the environment, but I'm going to say that he's a product of the environment.
I agree.
You don't have to be a great quarterback with that many weapons. You just need to get the ball in the general vicinity. These guys will do the rest. Like, the 49ers right now are stacked. Like, I think out of any team in the NFL, they might have the most offensive superstars.
Easy.
Yeah.
Like,
and so a nutless monkey could come in and run that offense. Now, is he talented? Absolutely. Will he only get better? Sure. Is he in MVP conversation? No. Does this trade potentially happen? I'm with Mike on this one. I'm very curious to see what the next 7 days holds. Because Kirk Cousins put on a fantastic display. And interception, sure. You get that with Kirk Cousins, but then you get 378 yards and 2 touctouchdowns.
Look,
that trade is definitely not happening because he's not waiving his no trade clause. You already said that.
Look, but here's the thing. It can, like, the 49ers can afford it. It can work. Like, it actually can as a one-off season. That's the way it has to work.
Mm-hmm. Kirk also has to prove it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
John, I have faith in John
Lynch.
Lynch. I have faith in Shanahan. I think that the Niners have a good system. This loss is not going to affect them. They're going to win the division.
Yeah.
Here is the big concern. One, Purdy's thing was he didn't turn the ball over. He turned the ball over 3 times yesterday, and that second one was bad. That second pick might be one of the worst I've seen all year, and that was dumb and just stupid. The last one is what it is. It's desperation mode. I will never yell at a quarterback for throwing a pick in a 2-minute drill when you're desperate. Like, you're throwing desperate passes at that point. The other big takeaway from this game, and what I think, and is the reason they lost, that defense wasn't good last night. That defense didn't play 49ers football where they are in your face and just smash mouth football the way the Eagles do. They didn't. They looked bad, and I don't know what it was. Again, I'm taking this is week 7. We are weird right now, and as the biggest reason out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, with this loss, Philadelphia now holds the number 1 seed in the division. And with that Kevin Byard trade, the trade deadline coming up, I'm counting on Philly to start loading up.
Yeah.
for another championship push. Like again, I said with Julio Jones last week. I'll say with Kevin Byard again this week. This is not the last move Howie's going to make. I promise you that. Before we move on to our final segment, we have to say goodbye to Haas for the evening. Haas, thank you for joining us. Where can we find you at?
At Big Moose Haas on Twitter. I have to leave to go record the Extra Movie Butter podcast, myself, JTE, and Benny Hamlin. We recently just had Jacob on, and Jacob and I legally won the argument that The Batman is a great movie.
It is.
So,
Yeah, again, like there is no argument. It is a great movie. Like there's no arguing it.
suck on that, Mike. But no, gents, thanks for having me. It's always fun coming on here.
Of course.
Gotta go. Cheers. Have a good night.
We'll bring you back for some off-season shenanigans. But
Moose, I'll see you on Friday.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Good night. All
Thanks,
right,
man.
So that's going to do it for our week 7 recap. We now move on to our week 8 predictions / stunks or not stunks. No teams on a bye this week. Everybody's playing this week.
Oh, yeah, everyone plays. Yep.
Thursday Night Football, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Buffalo Bills.
Bounce back. This is the Bills.
That's the problem. You're up against a pretty solid Tampa Bay defense. They're doing it on 3 days of rest. I'm not confident in a giant bounce back.
I am. I think that I think you both are underplaying what Josh Allen's going to do in this game. I like Buffalo in this game a lot. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think they can win by a touchdown.
Okay, Bills win. I don't think they cover. Cover is currently at 5.5 points. I think they win, but it might even be what we consider a convincing win, but it's not by like. But it's one of those weird ones where like it's less than a score win, but it's not like you. It's a like, oh, you looked the better team, but it was close just because of off like on a short week and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also going. I think
Sorry,
Bills win.
Sorry, 8.5 is the line right now.
Yeah,
no way.
I don't take 8.5. I take about 6.
Yeah.
Like I think the Bills will win. I just think that coming off of 3 bad weeks of football and doing on 3 days of rest against a pretty solid defense is a tough ask. So I think they win. I think it's pretty close.
Offense isn't where I'm concerned. It's Baker. Baker is not. Look, Baker against bad defenses is a good quarterback. Mike Evans and Godwin are good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm worried about that. That's my big concern. Is I think this is a huge game for Mike Evans and Baker. I don't think they win, but I think they put up numbers.
All right. For stonks, not stonks, I'm going to throw out the name of. Let's throw out somebody who we've never heard much from this year. Chris Godwin.
Not stonks, because Baker just doesn't like throwing the ball to him.
There's no rapport. It's all Evans.
Yeah.
Does Godwin get traded? Is my question. Like, Godwin's a good receiver.
That's a solid trade idea for Tampa to make right now. Like
They lose
this
game, I think they do. They lose this game, I think they do, because they'll have the whole weekend. Our team is going to overpay for him.
They'll get a second for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that.
So he's not as valuable. He's Chase Claypool valuable.
Pretty much.
All right. Moving on to our Sunday slate. First of all, we got the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Prayers up for Matt Stafford.
This Cowboys defense is going to get some sacks.
Yeah, this is Cowboys off a bye. I think they'll be pretty good. Cowboys better win just for the sanity of this household, because my father-in-law, my in-laws are actually going to this game. So sanity of this. What's actually going to be really interesting is like what the mood in Texas is that game, because of obviously the baseball's in is in Texas this year now. So yeah,
World Series.
The World Series.
That big thing, that series of the world. What's it called? But yeah, I had Dallas winning this one too, but I don't know. This could be surprising. I wouldn't be surprised.
This one I'm not betting on. I'm not comfortable betting on it. I think it'll be close though. But I do think Dallas wins.
Let's see. Not songs for this one. I'm gonna throw out Tony Pollard.
I think he'll do good. I like him in this game. I'll say stonks.
I'm going to say not stonks. I don't know on that defensive line.
All right, so we got one. We got two. Up next, Minnesota Vikings versus Green Bay Packers.
Up until last night, I might have said the Packers. Right now, it's Vikings, and Vikings are going to take this game somewhat soundly.
You can get Vikings for -1 right now. That is one of the bets you can possibly get. You take that and you take that running.
I think when I bet it, it was like 1.5, which I'd still take. But
yeah, I was on DraftKings, so different companies obviously might have different ones. I'm going Vikings. Obviously, this is one of my favorite bets of the week. I think the Packers looked bad, and they have looked bad for a few weeks.
Exactly.
And LaFleur doesn't have a great record against the Vikings.
Yep.
He's not particularly good against the Vikings. Like they're when even in their 13-3 seasons and 13-4 seasons, one of those 4 losses was to the Vikings. So I'm going to go Vikings.
All right. For this one, I'm gonna throw out. Does Aaron Jones do something?
I think he can against the Vikings rush defense. I think he'll be okay. So I'd say stonks.
Yeah, I'm going to say stonks because that defense isn't great. Like I think this is going to be Vikings win on offense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Up next, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Tennessee Titans.
Do not bet on this game.
The battle of two probably should be fired quarterbacks.
I'm going to take Atlanta because I think they have the better defense. I think in the grand scheme of things, Tennessee just doesn't have any identity. And the fact that they're talking about the possibility of splitting the reps between Willis and Levis, as sad as this is to say, I trust Ritter more than those two, which is bizarre to say. I'm taking Atlanta in a fairly low-scoring game.
Atlanta's defense is good enough to win this game, and I think I think Ritter is against this Titans defense. I think can win,
especially with no Byard anymore.
Yeah, and that's the. I think that is going to. We saw it last year. I think it's going to demoralize the team. I think that trade has just made the Titans go, "Fuck it, we're tanking."
We're done. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is going to have an impact on how players play because they're going to be like, I don't want to get injured because if I get injured, I don't have trade value. I don't have So I think that's going to have an impact on how the Titans play over the next couple of weeks.
All right. For this one, I'm going to throw out Kyle Pitts.
Not stonks. Despite the fact that they've had,
He's like right on the cusp of it, but I'll also go not. Like I think he'll get like 3 or 4 catches for like 40 yards.
All right, up next, New Orleans Saints versus Indianapolis Colts.
Another one. Don't bet on this game.
No.
I'm actually going to go with the Colts. I'll take the home field advantage. I'm going to take the goldfish memory of Gardner Minshew that he's just going to will this team to victory. He might throw 3 picks, but he'll also throw 3 touchdowns. Like I think the Colts will take this one.
Okay, real quick. Would Gardner Minshew and Puka Nacua make the greatest quarterback wide receiver duo of all time?
You're talking the all-time Hall of Fame right there.
Like the two, I'm positive the two of them would win a Super Bowl together.
Those two would be best friends, I think.
I think we get a bounce. I actually think I think the highs and lows of Gardner Minshew, we get the bounce back game from Derek Carr, and I think I think Saints win this one.
Well, the thing is, the Saints have got to do with that. Probably that Chris Olave.
Yeah. Well, no,
potentially
it's not going to be this game. It's going to be like week 1 and 2 of next year.
Yeah, it won't. It'll be a while. Like I
You
mean,
didn't mention Chris Olave said attended the Henry Ruggs School doing dumb shit off the field.
not as bad as Henry Ruggs. I mean,
Not
look,
even
speed
close
is
to
dumb,
Henry
but
Ruggs.
Not as
yeah,
bad as Ruggs, but why are you doing a 70 and a 35?
because people are morons.
Yeah. Stung. For this one, I'm gonna throw out Jonathan Taylor.
I like him in this one. Like, I think, and it's not the run game. I think that it was proven the other day that Minshew likes him in the check down game. He'll probably rush for like 40, 50 yards, but he'll catch like 4 or 5 for another 40, 50 yards and maybe a touchdown. I like Taylor.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Taylor. Yeah, I think Stonks.
All right. So Stonks on Taylor. Up next, we have the New England Patriots going to Miami to take on the Dolphins. This is usually a death sentence for this team. I think that doesn't change here.
Yeah, this is the chip on the shoulder game. The Dolphins are coming out pissed off.
I mean, I think they're kind of pissed off either way. Again, it's the I don't know. Like, this is what Jacksonville is to Indy, Miami is to New England.
Yeah, they got this. It's Miami.
Dolphins win, but this is close. This is a close game. This isn't a blowout. This isn't a. I think because here's the thing. I think with training wheels Mac, they can win this game. I think if Mac Jones doesn't turn the ball over, they're just gonna go down the field and go down and run so much clock that the Dolphins don't get back. Now, unfortunately, the Patriots defense isn't as good as it was in week 3 when they played. Oh, in week 2, sorry, when they played. So Dolphins will probably just be able to go, hey, cool, we can score within 30 seconds. But it's close, but Dolphins win.
All right. For this one, I'm gonna throw out. Let's say Jalen Waddle.
I like him.
I do too. I do too because I think Bill's best weapon as a coach is he takes away your best weapon. So he'll take away.
Waddle will run wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we have a very, very special event coming in next week.
Snoopy Bowl.
We have the Snoopy Bowl. New York Giants versus New York Jets. The Battle of MetLife.
Jets win this, and Jets win this easy.
I don't think the Giants, even if it's Tyrod, like regardless of which quarterback, they're going to be able to handle the Jets defense. If Wilson's not going to have to do much. This is a Breece Hall game. I think the Jets, like this is one of the few times I'm going to say with confidence, I think the Jets got this.
All right. I'm also taking the Jets in this one. I will throw out the name of, let's go Garrett Wilson.
He's going to catch like 5 or 6 for about 70 and maybe a touchdown. I'll say Stonks.
Yeah. I think he's less than 100, but he has a touchdown. Stonks.
All right. Up next, the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I've never wanted you guys to win so badly than this fucking game. I need you to win this game. That being said, because I need it to happen, I am betting on the Jags at -2.5.
This is actually one of the tougher games of the week for me. Like, I do think this is a pretty evenly matched game. I like the momentum that Jacksonville has going into it. I also like the Pittsburgh defense. I don't think when push comes to shove, it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. I just trust Lawrence a little bit more than I trust Pickett. Close game, but I'm taking the Jaguars.
Okay. How many clutch drives has Trevor Lawrence pulled out of his ass?
A
Not
few.
as many as Pickett.
A few.
Not as many as Pickett. Probably. I don't know. I don't know the math on that. Look,
I don't know. Trevor Lawrence came back from 24-0.
This is going to be a close
game. Pickett
27
doesn't.
27
27.
It's going to be close, regardless.
Yeah.
Look, this is a concerning one. For whatever reason, and this is like a historic thing, the Steelers always struggle against Jacksonville. I don't know what it is about Jacksonville. Pittsburgh always struggles against this team. I don't get it.
Yeah.
That being said, they're going to break the curse right now, and they're going to take T-Law, shave his head at halftime, and keep that man as a trophy. Not at halftime. They'll shave his head after the game and keep his hair as a trophy.
If they come on here, if they come in here and embarrass the Jags, don't just beat them, but embarrass the Jags, I will say the Steelers are a good football team.
That's
And
not
I
gonna.
will
That's
and
not
I
gonna
will
happen.
put them and I will put them in my top 10.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. We don't do this whole win convincingly thing.
Okay, you know what? No, I'll sweeten it. They win. They win this game. I will put them in the top 10.
Why?
What?
Okay. Fine. If
If
they
beat
win,
Jags, they're a
they're
top 10
top 10.
team. Like, in all seriousness, if they beat Jags and they're 5-2 after 8 fucking weeks, they're a top 10 team.
All right.
Even though they've looked fucking awful.
We will take that action. Of course, everyone on Pittsburgh stunks. Everyone on the other team, not stunks.
Uh-huh.
Moving on to our next game. I love how I've just silenced Mike. I love how I've just silenced you. Up next, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Commanders.
I am not betting this game with a 10-foot fucking pole.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I took Eagles money line, like just like no points involved. All they have to do is win.
Nope.
I don't think after watching Washington the past few weeks, Mike, no, under normal circumstances, yes, I get exactly where you're coming from, Jacob. That like this is the ultimate trap game, and they always play them hard. I think the Eagles are going to come out and I'm not saying make a statement, but they're going to win this game handily.
Here is my problem. Who do they play next week?
I don't know who do they play next week.
Cowboys.
They're not thinking that far ahead. If they're smart, they're not thinking that far ahead.
They are. They're thinking that far ahead. That is such a big game. That Cowboys game is such a big game, and they've already beaten Washington. So I think that's I'm
but
going.
So you can't afford to give up ground when you're up on the Niners by a game.
I know, but I can see them overlooking Commanders for the Cowboys next week because that is such a big game next week against the Cowboys. That
I'm still thinking
Washington just got embarrassed by the Giants very badly. There's the talk that the coach is going to get fired. This just feels like, again, also the enemy knows how to beat this team. And that I'm going Eagles, but this is an upset alert. There is something about this game that just feels Commanders could win this.
All right. Stonks for this one, I'm going to say, I mean, there are people who I think are perma stonks for the Eagles. I'm going to say, you know what? With the addition of Kevin Byard, I'm going to throw out Terry McLaurin.
He hasn't played super well recently. I'm going to say not stonks.
Not stonks.
All right.
Again, I'm not saying it full-throated. I'm not confidently beating my chest that Commanders are going to win this game. I don't think they will, but I ain't touching this game with a 10-foot fucking pole in betting. Nope. This game scares me.
Well, someone else is scared of this next game. It's Frank Reich. He has to literally watch the guy he wanted pick his team apart, potentially, as the Houston Texans versus the Carolina Panthers.
I did not think going into the season that I would be this confident in this pick, but I'm taking Houston with confidence.
Yeah,
it's if Houston want to put themselves as we are a contender for that final wild card spot in the AFC, they have to win this game. They lose this game, it's done, it's over. You're 2-4. Congratulations, you've got a really good quarterback, but you're honestly probably where the Bears were last year, where it's like, okay, we think we know we've got our quarterback, but he can't win games apparently, but he's very good. I think Texans win this, and I think they win it fairly convincingly. But it's a huge game for the Texans overall, and where I think if they really want to put themselves as that 7th seed or in the fight for that 7th seed, I don't know if they're going to be the 7th seed, but they'll be at least in the fight. They need to win this game.
Yeah, I also got Texas winning this, and I really want a hard cam on Frank Reich the entire game as he watches whatever CJ Stroud does the Panthers defense.
Yeah.
For this one, I'm gonna throw out Nico Collins.
Stonks. I like him.
Yeah.
All right. Next game, we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Seattle Seahawks. This could be a sneaky game of the week candidate.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
I like Seattle. The home field is, playing there is huge. We don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for the Browns. That's a big wild card. They also are now going to be without Jerome Ford, so they're down. I'm not saying that Ford is a huge upgrade over Hunt, but their run game is definitely, they definitely don't have the depth there. I don't think this is a super high scoring game, but I like the Seahawks.
Yeah, if the Browns are going to win this, it's going to be on the back of Myles Garrett. That's what I think is the only way they can. I think, even look right now, Geno's a better quarterback than both Deshaun or PJ Walker, which fuck me. So like I think Seahawks can do it. The biggest thing the Seahawks out of this game, look, you want to win, you really need to work on that red zone offense. It's not good. Like that's now starting to become a concern to the point where the Cowboys one was a concern. Like we're worried about the Cowboys red zone offense. Seahawks are in that conversation too. Their red zone offense has been bad. Yeah. So that's a concern. I am going to go Seahawks, but yeah, this is a knockdown dragon fight.
All right. I'm going to throw out for Seahawks this one, Jake Bubbo. That's not a serious one.
I was going to say it depends on if DK plays.
Let's say okay. So even if okay. I'm assuming because we don't know if DK's playing, do we?
We don't know.
No.
Okay. Let's throw out then Tyler Lockett.
I like Lockett in this game. I think.
Yeah.
I think he'll do well. I know that Cleveland has a decent secondary, but the way that Geno spreads the ball out, I think Lockett will find some separation. He'll do well.
I agree with Jeremy Miller. Over under, we get Geno Smith screaming out, "Oh God!"
Oh my God! I like that one. Up next, Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos again.
New, whatever it is, worst game ever. There's supposed to be snow in this game. Kansas City just steamrolls them.
This is my other trap game. Okay, here's why. They just steamrolled they just steamrolled this team. They just steamrolled the Chargers. Snow game, and they play Miami in Germany next week. And that Miami game is their first tough game all season, and they've had that circled all season long. I can see this one being a trap game. I don't think Broncos win, but they don't cover at 8.5. I think Chiefs don't cover. I think Bronco. It's a close game, especially with snow. I don't think. I think it's a freaking 8-12 score. Like I think it's a really low scoring game. Like it's not. It's ugly as hell. So I'm going Chiefs to win, but Broncos to cover. Chiefs to win, but not cover.
All right. Stunks for this one. I'm gonna throw out Cortland Sutton.
Not in the snow.
Yeah, not
fair.
Snow.
Fair. Snow didn't
more than likely playing his last game for the Broncos.
Could be. Very well could be.
I feel like we're gonna have a lot of last game for the Broncos coming up in the next couple of weeks.
I do too. I have a feeling there could be 3 or 4 of them leaving.
Look, hey Broncos, we'll give you We'll give you Mac Canada and a Primanti sandwich for Patrick Tim. Take it or leave it. All right.
Leave it.
Did I ask you? Up next, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, poor Cardinals. Poor Cardinals.
This is a blowout. This is a blowout.
See, here's the thing. I agree with you. And everything about everything says that the Ravens are going to win this game. However, every single week this year, the hottest team in football has then lost a week later. Lions were last week. Lions were the hottest after last week. The Lions were the hottest team in football. They lost. This week, it's the Ravens. There is no whatsoever mindset. There's no justification whatsoever for it. But don't be surprised if the Cardinals win this. I could see it happening because of I could see it happening.
All right. Stonks for this one. Nelson Aguilar.
Not stonks. I think it's going to be a Zay Flowers game.
Yeah.
That was really serious one. How about this? Odell Beckham Jr.
Not stonks.
Not
I don't think I say stonks at all for him for the rest of the year.
Odell's done. He's done. Like,
I mean, they better not be done. They're paying him a significant amount of money for him to not be done.
Yeah, no.
Up next, the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. This is a game that seemed like a death sentence for Joe Burrow a few weeks ago. Now it might not be the case.
In all seriousness, this is my favorite bet of the week because you can get Bengals at 5.5 points.
Yeah, I like that too.
The Vegas haven't overreacted to the 49ers. And I just right now, I think they're going to next week. You can get them for 5.5 points. And I think coming off a bye, Burrow is going to be more healthy. That team is going to be healthier. The defense for the 49ers is struggling. Fred Warner is most likely out. There are problems on the 49ers right now. I'm going with the Bengals. I think the Bengals even win. But even if I think Bengals can win this one and 49ers go 3 in a row. But if they don't, it's by less than a field goal.
I've got the 49ers winning the game, but I agree with you on the score being super close.
So for stonks on this one, I'm going to throw out, say, George Kittle.
I know, not stonks. He just hasn't been using him.
Yeah, I'm also with not stonks.
It was National Tight Ends Day, and they didn't use him.
Catch. Sunday Night Football in a game that makes you question who the fuck scheduled this. The Chicago Bears taking on the Los Angeles Android Chargers.
I understand why, because at the start of the season, the Bears were meant to be a half decent team this year. Like not amazing, but they were meant to be okay, and so were the Chargers. This isn't one of the ones where I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? The Bears Panthers is the one there I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? But yeah, this is Staley coaching for his job, and he knows it. He loses this game, that's it, you're done. Especially you lose to not Justin Fields.
Yeah, if you lose to Tyson Bagent,
so Chargers have to win this. I'm saying Chargers, they have to win this game.
This is my confidence pick of the week. It's the Chargers. I think the Chargers not only win this, they win it by more than 2 scores. They have to. They have to prove something this week. This is the team to do it against. On the national scale, the Chargers are going to take this and run away with it.
Because that's the thing, that's another frustrating part. Every time we have been in that, if Staley loses this, he's fired. He's won that week.
Yeah.
And then you start going, oh, is he half decent? And then he wins the week after, and then no, you're embarrassing yourself again. Cool. All right.
Now is he back-to-back stonks? Tyson Bagent?
No. I think that this defense is going to get him.
Back to reality.
It's not a great defense, but I just also think that like because Staley is literally coaching for his job, they're gonna lift for him.
All right, and last game, Monday Night Football, the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Detroit Lions.
Give me the Lions. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, the Lions. I will be this game. I will be watching the World Series and we'll be in a bar in LA. That is what I will be doing instead of watching this game.
All right, and for this one, this is a hard one. Devontae Adams.
Not stonks. Oh my god, against that defense, not stonks.
After how he's been playing, not stonks. Yeah.
All right, and that's going to do it for our show tonight. Jacob, plug before you head out.
You guys can find me pretty much everywhere at Jacob London and rooting for the Diamondbacks over the next week and a half. I don't know how valuable I will be next Tuesday. Actually, no, I'm not here next Tuesday. I am at a wedding, so I am not here next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks.
All right. Mike, where will we find you?
You can find me on What Show tomorrow night. We do have John Hoey joining us. And then on Friday, our biggest stream of the entire year, which is our 3-year anniversary stream, which starts at 9:00 Eastern and will go pretty much all night. And we'll have a shitload of guests. Everybody on screen is invited. And that's one of the most fun nights we have of the entire year. So see you then.
Remember Twitter, give a chance wars _91. Check out the podcast, Enjoy Us by Chance. We're gonna bang out a bunch of horror episodes over the next couple days. So that'll be for Halloween. Have a lot of fun stuff to watch for you. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week.
Yeah.